come here with 4 wines from one of the most exciting wine regions in the world. It's a region that's been making wine for a long time, but it's not been making the style of wines that I'm going to have a look at today for a long time. Port wine comes from the Douro Valley in northern Portugal. And I don't know about you, but how much port do you... I drink 2 or 3 bottles of port over the course of a year, maybe, yeah. Sometimes maybe 1, sometimes maybe 4. But about that, it's not going to keep all the producers in the Douro Valley in Mercedes for the rest of their lives. And they've realised that too. So quite a few of them have, if they've been an established port producer, they're introducing table wines into their portfolio. At the same time, there are people who are thinking, okay, well, so there's a demand for interesting red wines, let's try and buy somewhere there. And there are these wonderful old farms in the Douro, and we've got some wines here. Well, the first 2, for example, these come from a farm that was founded in 1764. Quinta Nova de Nossa Senhora de Carmo, it's called. Bit of a mouthful. They call it Quinta de Nova. Not to be confused with Quinta de Noval. More of them in a moment. But this winery, or this Quinta just means farm. This Quinta today is owned by Amorim, who's a major cork company. And they've only had it for about 10 years. And they make a bit of port, they make a bit of table wine. So this is their 2008 Unoaked Douro. Tigger. Bouncy, 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 fun, 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 fun. That's what I smell. I smell bouncy, fragrant, ripe fruit. There's a bit of bramble here, lots of plush, berry, plum, that type of thing. Really, smells really nice. Oh yeah. I mean, the grape varieties that they use there in the Douro, the main ones are things like Touriga Nacional. Heard of that? Well, if you have, you probably haven't heard of some of the others. Touriga Franca, Tinta Cow, Tinta Amarella, Tinta Muda, Tinta Barroca, Tinta Roriz. Tinta Roriz is the same as Tempranillo over the border in Spain. Bastardo, great name for a grape. And but often what will have happened is people will have planted a row of one of these grapes, and then maybe a couple of vines died, so they'll replant it with whatever's available, and then the next year similar thing happens, but it's a different vine, so something else is planted. So over the course of quite a lot of years, you're left with a vineyard that's not one variety. It's sometimes as many as 30 or 40 different grape varieties. So you'll often see these things on Douro table wines. It says field blend. And you say, what's in it? And they say, well, honestly, we don't know. But what there is in this one is joy, rich, bouncy fruit, bit of pepper, bit of spice, very, very tasty, and unhampered by oak. Next one up from the same place, 3 Pomares. I don't know what Pomares means. Maybe I'll find out before I post the video. Touriga Nacional, Touriga Franca, and Tinta Roriz. So a year older. Probably a bit of oak here. Is it a better wine or just an older, oakier wine? Well, it's certainly not as bouncy. What it does have, though, is it's got the Touriga Nacional's footprint here is a bit firmer. Touriga Nacional reminds me of like chocolate ginger biscuits, and maybe there's a bit of citrus peel going on here as well. Yeah, more wine there. It's have a look at the alcohol. First one's 14.5%. The second one's only 13. So the first one, it didn't taste like it was bigger and didn't taste too warm. What it did taste is bouncier fruit. This one's a bit more restraint to it, a bit more serious. It doesn't mean it's a better wine or a worse wine, but it just feels like if there were a wine that you wanted to age a bit, and certainly in terms of being food friendly, far more structure here. So you need something for that structure, the acidity and the tannin to bite against. The first one, you can almost drink it by itself, or some nice herby sausages it'd be great with. Whereas this one feels like it's got a future, and but it's got a very nice present as well. Yeah, but a sterner, more serious wine. Okay, I was talking about Quinta de Noval before, and we've got a wine from them. Quinta de Noval, it's their Cedro de Noval. So they make, they actually make 3 table wines. They make Quinta de Noval. They make, I'll tell you about the third one in a moment. Cedro de Noval is their second wine, and this Quinta de Noval's had a reputation for port for a long, long time, and it's owned by AXA Millesime. AXA's a big insurance company. And they took over in the early 90s, and they started working on trying to make their ports better, obviously, but let's have a project on the side and do some table wine. Well, it took them until 2004 until they were happy with what they'd done making table wine, and so they released their first vintage 2004. Now we're in 2007 vintage here. And it's not, it doesn't say Douro on the label, doesn't say, it hasn't got that denominación de origen, or whatever it's called now, but it says Vino Regional Douriense, Douro regional wine, and that's because, yes, it's got all these port grapes in there, but it's also got 30% Syrah, so it doesn't fit in with the local rules. And you can smell something of that slightly sage-like sausage meat and orange peel edge of Syrah here. It smells very tasty, actually. Yeah, that's a bigger, firmer, more powerful wine. I think it's half a degree more alcohol, so it's not being powered by ripeness, but it's being powered by sternness, I would say. Feels like there's more character in the grapes there. There's this, yeah, you get those plummy berry edges there, but there's also this more of a fragrance. There's more earthy terroir edge coming through. Very tasty. Final wine. When Quinta de Noval was bought by AXA, they brought in this English guy called Christian Seeley, whoops-a-daisy, to look after Noval. And he was there for about 7 years, and then they made him head of the whole wine department, and he cried apparently the day he had to leave Noval and move to Bordeaux and live in Pichon-Baron, which looks like a Disney castle, and it's absolutely lovely there. So Christian's always had this bit in his heart for the Douro. So I think about 5 years ago, he and a group of mates bought Quinta de Romaneira in the Douro, and this is their third vintage, 2007, I think. And it's funny, whereas the Cedro maybe, well, if you want to use French comparisons, if the Cedro has maybe got more of a sternness of Bordeaux, and even though it's got that Syrah in, then this is the one. This has got more Rhôny, maybe, yeah, Rhôny type of fragrance. There's a meaty, leathery edge there, but there's also some of those Portuguese floral edges, the violets are going on in there. Oh, I was saying about Quinta de Noval having 3 wines. Quinta de Noval, Cedro de Noval, and in 2007 they did a 100% Syrah wine called, at the moment it's called Labrador. So I don't think it's going to be released as that, because at the moment it's named after the winemaker's dog, which is a Labrador. And if it's not a Labrador, they've got a Cocker Spaniel which is called Labrador. Anyway, back to this wine. Yeah, if this has got more charm, more gentleness to it. It's fascinating having these 3, because they are all terrific wines, these last 3, but they're going from being quite stern and firm to just being a bit more louche and come hither. I love the come hither character here, which is just makes you want to relax and have one of those big Burgundian glasses that you can sit there and swirl and get loads and loads of fragrance off it. Yeah, I'm really enjoying these 4 wines. So I'm going to leave you now. I'm going to go and enjoy them a bit more, and see you soon.